Welcome to Ex Magna. I'm going to be doing a little bit of my Turkish coffee recipe. It's a very simple 1, 2, 3 recipe where I take 1 cup of coffee and I put that into the pot without anything else in it. I take 2 cups of sugar here and add that to the coffee, and then I put 3 cups of water. So basically everything is off on the oven, and I add the coffee, 1 cup, 2 cups of sugar, and 3 cups of water. There's 2. And this is the 3rd one here. So I just turn on the oven. And just mix with a stainless steel spoon. So basically you're dissolving the sugar in the mixture here. And what I like to do, this is going to make about a quart. And what I do with the Turkish coffee after it's done is I strain it through a little metal sieve, into a Pyrex bowl, and for an extra layer of sieviness, what I'm basically going to do is use a little towel, or you could use cheesecloth. Some holder stained because I've used it already on this. Just tea towel. And I'm going to be able to pour the coffee mixture after it's done in here, and then let it cool off and squeeze it out, so that I've got my layer of coffee in here. After it's cool, I put in this metal 1 quart thing with a funnel. It's still going to be a little bit for this to come to a boil and for the coffee to really work through it. At some point, the flavor of the coffee is going to go from like right away after it starts boiling, it's going to be a kind of vanilla-y flavor, and then as it cooks, it'll get more caramely and more caramely, and then at the very end is going to be a little chocolatey. So you can actually pick where you want the flavor of this to be, basically by smelling it and trying to determine how much caramely flavor you want in it. So after it's done, basically what I can do is I can take 2 ounces of the stuff that's in here, it's going to be the coffee mixture, and put it with 6 ounces of milk to make a kind of homemade frappuccino. We've been going for about 3 or 4 minutes, and it's just about to start coming to a boil, and you really have to watch it at this point, because when it starts to boil, it can overboil really quick. So we're going to be turning down the oven, or the range top here, very soon, and you can start to see here that it's starting to look a little frothy, basically. So if you come in and take a look, this basically is when it's going to be the most vanilla-y flavored. Just when the froth starts to form there, because the coffee beans are at 194 degrees Fahrenheit. They basically start releasing their essence into the stuff. Now I'm turning this down real quick here and take it off because it's starting to get really, boily. And so that's why you really have to watch it, because that can boil over really quick. And I turned it down. And so basically what I'm going to do now is just let it simmer and watch it really close so that it doesn't boil over, because boiling hot sugar water is hotter than regular sugar water and regular boiling water. So, but the color of this, foam basically is fairly light, and you can see the coffee grounds in it. And so that's going to start to change color the more we caramelize this mixture to give it more of a caramely flavor. And it looks like this is not going to overboil, and it's going to be fairly safe for a little bit here. I generally find a place on my stove where I can get a nice turnover, a convection current going inside the mixture. And just watch it and keep on smelling it to see how it smells, because the more chocolatey it smells, the closer to it being done it is. And if it starts to smell really, really good, then it's probably basically just done. So you kind of just sit here and smell, because it doesn't quite smell done yet. It smells like an old stale pot of coffee, basically. And that's going to change and become a very rich, sweet kind of smell. So you just sit here and stir and watch and wait. So one of the things that you really need to be careful of is you want to put in the coffee and the sugar before you start boiling anything, and then you add the water and start doing it. Because if you heat up the water first, what happens is it immediately boils over as soon as you add the coffee, and that can be very dangerous because all that stuff comes out. So you just have to be really careful when you're starting this to do it cold. Start from cold. So I'm starting to smell a little bit of the change coming in, and just like a richness basically is where it's at. And one of the ways that the old Turks made Turkish coffee is basically they use a little tin pot like this, and you put basically 2 tablespoons of coffee in here, and 2 to 4 ounces of water, and about 2 ounces of sugar, 2 to 4 ounces of sugar. And basically what you do is you let it boil, and then you take it off the heat, and you let it settle down, and then you boil it again, and then you take it off the heat and let it settle down. And what that does is it basically concentrates the very finely ground Turkish coffee grounds down to the bottom of the cup, and so you get more of a mud at the bottom, so that it doesn't come out when you pour it gently into your small cup for drinking Turkish coffee. And so basically they boil it and let it settle 3 to 4 times, and it gets stronger each time and easier to boil over each time. So you just need to be careful. But so I'm kind of doing that, but I'm just doing it a slow way to let it simmer. So you're not going to get as much bitterness as you would from regular Turkish coffee using this. But since my family, we usually use this concentrate to make our own homemade frappuccinos. So now I'm smelling this, and it's got a bit more chocolate character to it, and a lot of those grounds have kind of like separated, and there's not too much foam happening here. And a lot of this coffee grounds they're coming back up, so generally it's going to be ready when those coffee grounds stop really floating and they settle more to the bottom of the pan. Not all of them will, but you just, basically watch it and keep smelling it until you feel like it's gonna be tasty. So, I mean, it would actually be okay for you to pull this off and to drain it out right now, to get a kind of, medium caramely kind of flavor. And that's generally how I like it. I'm just going to wait for just that last little bump to the smell, so that it's something I know is really going to be good, and not too vanilla-y, and a nice solid flavor. So this seems to be, settling okay. And just starting to get a hint of a little bitterness in it, so I'm going to pull it off and I'm going to pour it in here. So stand back for safety. Do it nice and slow so that you don't overflow your extra sieve or your cheesecloth. And you're just going to let this really sit in here and drain out as it cools, so that when it comes time to squeeze this out, it's cooled off enough that you won't hurt yourself. Alright, so thanks a lot, and we will be back to show you how, just finishing this off and putting a little bit in some milk to make a homemade frappuccino. Thanks! So we've let this cool off enough, and so I just washed my hands, so we're just going to squeeze this out real quick. And this is a little sticky, so if your hands are just a little bit wet, it might annoy you a little less to have really sticky hands for about a minute or so. And the amount of water on your hands isn't really going to matter too much in terms of diluting this, because it won't be anything compared to the strength of, this simple syrup. So I'm just going to, I took about 4 ounces out because I wanted some coffee. But we can just put the rest of this in. It'll get almost to the top of my 1 quart container here. And so it's all basically ready to drink. So what I'm going to do, this is about what I use here, is I take about 2 ounces. This is how we like to drink it in my house, really. Take those 2 ounces, put it in a cup, and take about 4 ounces of milk, or you can do up to 6 here, depending on how sweet you like it, because this is a very sweet, simple syrup. I don't have quite enough in there, but this way you can see the color of it. And it's a nice looking iced coffee drink. And that'll be basically, you can add more or less of this or milk to your taste. But enjoy.